Hey guys, I just got this thing working for me. It took me forever. So again, I know that I'm just now starting this. The show just started on NBC. I'm going to be not showing you on the screen. I can't. It will get me kicked off. My channel will be taken down. I'm going to watch this and live react to whatever they're saying and see what this is all about. Hey, Doc. Hey, Kristen. It's Stormin. Hey, Jitsu. Trying to see what they have to say. Hey, I figured it out, Chris. Hey, Silo. Of course, Bloom Blum is in it. Hey, Wonders Deep. So, how many of you guys are watching this right now? I listened to Morrison talk with Nate from Nate Inton on East Idaho. And he was saying basically that like he has mostly everything, Keith Morrison, that he has mainly everything that the feds or the state plan on using against Bryan. And it sounds as if he got it from the feds. And I saw that picture. They're showing the picture right now in the black hoodie. There's like several of them. It's a WSU hoodie. He's wearing a beanie. I mean, you know how many freaking pictures I took of myself looking all cute with a serious face and my hair like this and my hoodie on my head? That damn picture don't mean nothing to me. Oh, it's that Gary dude that talks to interview room. Maddie, yeah. I mean, Maddie being the possible target has sort of been a big thing for a while. I had to get the Hulu Live thing. I just paid like $50, y'all, to watch this damn thing because I couldn't figure out how to get it on Peacock. Like I tried on like the live thing for the local thing, and I signed up for the $13.99 one or whatever, and it was not showing it to me. It was not showing it to me. I saw a couple of people that were having issues with trying to get it to watch, like trying to get it to play. It's crazy, like how happy they seem to be, like all the time, just constantly having fun, and then all of a sudden everything's just shit. They're interviewing Ashlyn Couch's mom right now. Oh, they're just showing pictures and stuff. There's the Xana video of her being in her hoodie. I mean, not her hoodie, but her jersey, where she says she lived at King Road for 2 years. Yeah, I couldn't get it figured out. I couldn't figure out how to freaking get it. I don't have cable either. That's why. It's already hugely cringe. Well, they're like going crazy about these selfies or whatever that were on his phone. Broski, I'd be looking cute in a hoodie quite a bit and take pictures of myself. Thank you. NBC. Katie Meyer, Maddie's boss at a clothing store. She's pretty. A lot of people are saying that they like him, but then like this stuff is coming out and they're really sort of disappointed because of the gag order and just the way that things are happening. Maddie didn't want more hours at work. She was working at a clothing store and a serving job. Yeah, I try for some reason for Peacock is still not showing it to me. Maybe I'm just in an area where I don't technically have a local NBC station. That's possible. I'm kind of in a weird place. Hey, Legendary. 8:30. I don't even want to know what they're freaking over there saying. It's just a lot because I know that he's just like taking all of this and running with it, even though they're not showing any. I can't really say proof of stuff because damn, they've got like stuff from his phone and his phone records and shit. That's insane. It's okay. It's been 6 minutes. They're showing him in his chubby high school pictures. They're talking about the I knew it. They're talking about the whatchamadoodlers that we said we were going to go over. The post that he had on what the frick was it called? Yik Yak or whatever it was called. where he talks about how he has like no emotions or whatever. There's Bloom Blum. Stupid old Bloom Blum. It's on my nerves. Oh, I don't even have my login for Instagram anymore, broski. I don't even know where that's at. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. I appreciate it. Right? Like, how do they not have a privileged life? I've never once been able to go on an actual real vacation. The only time we were ever able to afford going like anywhere on a real vacation was my daughter's Make-A-Wish trip. That was pretty much paid for from here to Florida. Other than that, I can't afford to go out of state nowhere. They can go out of the country and they're not considered privileged. Are you out of your mind? Tapatalk, that's the one. Yeah, I have no idea how to watch it from the UK. I have no clue. Yeah, Tapatalk. See, they're saying that they have the actual Amazon documents, but they're showing an Amazon listing of a K-bar knife with the USMC insignia. They're not showing anything when it comes to proof of him actually buying it. June 25th, 2022, he used his phone to take a picture of the back of his car. So he took a picture of his car on June 25th, 2022, the day that he left Pennsylvania to move to Washington. Okay, so why do we care about the freaking fact he took a picture of the back of his phone? Y'all know this is like 2 hours, right? It's gonna be 2 hours. Yeah, it's 2 hours. There's some old stuff, but some new stuff. Now, when it comes to the phone information stuff, people are finding it interesting that they're using the Verizon phone. There's a guy here saying that he knew about some like other conversations from after the murders or whatever, but they're showing a Verizon phone. Now, I mentioned, see, there's that pretty brown-haired girl. See, they're showing like all of these just like blurry photos that they're showing that are saying that they're categorized on his phone. And they're showing it like on an actual phone device that they're trying to pretend like they actually have his actual device. That's what I'm saying. Like, how the frick is this okay? Except that's why I think it's the feds. I think the feds are the ones who release this information because they're the only ones that don't have to stand to the gag order. They're federal. Yeah, all the things. Okay, we're on a break for, these stupid medications they keep trying to throw in everybody's faces. I'm actually drinking a little Cayman Jack strawberry margarita thingy-mabobber. These are actually pretty good. They're like really light. They're 5.8%. They're kind of tangy. Yeah, I had to get on like Hulu Live and pay for like the bigger package because my Peacock thing is not working. Yeah, I don't know how they have this stuff. How do they have this? How do they have this mess? Dylan and apparently Bryan, I don't know if they said that he was on Yik Yak that morning. I feel like they did say that he was on Yik Yak that morning, but I could have that part wrong. But for sure, Dylan was. And we know that he had been on that before, that he has an account. Yeah, or a picture of the purchase. Like, why are you not just showing us the freaking invoice? Like, why are we playing all these stupid ass games? What's with the damn games? I can't. The only way that I can tell you how to watch it is if you pay the $53 that I just paid to get Hulu Live package or whatever. I'm canceling it as soon as it's over and just going to deal with it for the month. But yeah. The defense has never verified that a K-bar was used for the crimes, period. They're going based off the fact that a sheath was found next to Maddie that has a USMC insignia, but they're refusing to tell us if the one that he apparently did buy had the actual insignia. They're not being specific. They're not being descriptive. They're not anything. It's very vague. And you think with that being such a big deal, they would tell us if it had the USMC logo on it or freaking not. Yeah, Peacock isn't doing it the way that people were telling me that it was. I saw a couple other people say that they were having issues too. So I'm basically watching it on Hulu Live. It's like a package that you buy. It's like $85.99 a month. But I guess because my subscription with them is already like a couple of weeks in, it's not charging me for like the full month or whatever. I don't know if this could lead to a mistrial. It depends on if like what they're showing is true facts. Because I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how the frick they got this. Yeah, the feds is the only thing that makes any sense. Because Washington doesn't have to abide by Idaho's gag order. That's why all that crazy stuff ended up happening with the 911 call. Whitcomb decided to make their own freaking decision because they were tired of the back and forth. They sent their information and their questions over to Washington Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court didn't give a shit. They still hadn't told them anything or what they had to do, so they just made their own decision and said, screw it. If we get in trouble later, then that's not our problem. We tried. Y'all didn't give a shit, so we're just going to do whatever we need to do. We're still on commercials. And now, who are all these weirdos on SNL? They look like a bunch of, you know what? We're just going to just go back to this over here. Yeah, it's like ridiculous too. It's on Peacock tomorrow, not tonight. Yeah, I kind of thought that it was like the next day thing, but some people are saying that it's like you can watch it live. Yeah, I'm watching it on the thingy. I'm trying my best. Okay, it's starting. I'm trying to just like narrate what I'm seeing and hearing at the same time. That's what I should have gotten, a damn antenna. Should have done. Okay, June 30th, 2022. So he pulls in that day to the... Okay, so he took a picture of the apartment building. I guess that's how they're trying to prove that it's his phone. It's just like pictures that he took of like memory stuff. Photos resized for improved quality, yet everything is so freaking hella pixelated. Did they seriously feel the need to lie to us? What? Now here comes the Grove Party, July 9th. It's kind of cool they have the dates. Oh, there's the Indian guy with the long black hair that met him on the hiking thing. Oh, he's a DJ. Look at him go. It's on their YouTube channel? That's cool. I already paid for it, so fuck it. Oh, yeah, he's Native American. Look, those rings. He's built. Well, you know what? Hawaiian shirt. So he was the DJ at the party. Yeah, that price right there. If it is, why hasn't the state said it? You're kind of making a vague argument. I don't know who this guy is. Oh, wait, is this Chris? Did he shave his face and stuff? No, this is a friend. Real pale. So he's just like, I had nothing in common with him, not a big deal. It's okay. Yeah. So then he moved on to talk to Zach, the guy with the long black hair, talk to him about DJing. And then he had to like sort of stop the conversation because he had to focus on DJing. Holly. I bet you anything that's not her real hair color. It looks really, really nice on her. But whenever her hair is in like the sunlight, you can sort of see some tint. So, oh no, she's got brunette hair here, there too. Maybe she just touched it up because she was going to be on TV. She's pretty. Plant science. That's interesting. He seemed awkward. Sort of like what you would expect for a PhD student who didn't know people. So normal behavior. Interesting. Holly told Bryan about a hiking group that she was a part of and he put his number in her phone and she texted Bryan her name so that he had Holly's number. And this girl is a girl that this other guy that Chris, the neighbor, introduced Bryan to had a crush on. And he was like, damn, maybe I dropped the ball because she just gave that dude I don't like and that's pale and weird to talk to her phone number. That almost sounds like home dude's jealous of Bryan for getting chick's number. Now saying fixated on two young women dressed in bikinis. Are these the two? The source used the word fixated. You mean Howard Bloom, whatever? One of them was married. Apparently one of the girls' husbands was married, and the other friend asked the girl's husband to come over there and try to help them get away from her, and Kohberger ignored them and just like moved closer to them and talked to them at the party. Okay, well, if they didn't get to an altercation, if the husband didn't step in and stop them, how do we know that any of that's actually true? Because I feel like if a husband was at a pool party and some dude was bothering his chick and his chick's friend, it probably would have like been a whole situation. Okay, so this is a text message from Bryan to Holly, and it's on July 10th of 2022 that says at 1:19 p.m. that says, "Hey, I'm pretty sure we spoke about hiking trips yesterday. I really enjoyed that activity, so please let me know. Thanks," about joining her hiking group. July 10th, 2022 at 1:19 p.m. She said it's overly formal to say, "I really enjoyed that activity." Chick, he's got autism. How do you expect him to talk? She never followed up and gave him hiking plans. Not a good explanation. The universe intervened, and for some reason, I just got distracted from further engaging. Basically saying it was just like a fleeting thought. Catalyst is that guy's name. That's the DJ out on the hiking thing. Remember he said that Bryan, whenever he saw him, it was like weird because he was like overly excited to see him. Okay, we're back at another commercial. He said that it was kind of strange because he didn't really remember him from the pool party, but Bryan Kohberger came up to him as if like they were best friends, as if he had like remembered everything and knew him like for real. And he felt like it was awkward. Well, that also goes towards like autism and the kind of behaviors that all that stuff is all about too. So yeah, we're on commercials. I'm all I'm going to say to this, I'm not going to read this out loud. Please don't just believe things that come to you where people tell you that it's enhanced audio, because most of the time that means they're manipulating it. And unless it's from the original source or within like, I would give it less than 12 hours from the original source dropping, I wouldn't believe audio. So if someone's throwing Steve's name in there and some other stuff, I would really just not believe that mess. I really just wouldn't. I'm sorry, but I just would not. I should have done the antenna thing. I was at Walmart earlier. I should have just done that. I hooked it up to my TV. Google AI says the feds have to comply with the state's case gag order. I mean, it very well could be information that they obtained prior to the gag order. Like, I really feel like information was getting leaked all along. So I don't know. I don't know if like Dateline could have possibly have had all of this information prior to the gag order actually becoming active, and they had just held on to it up until now, or if this is a new leak. But they got it from somewhere if they did get it, because we know damn well that that's legitimate footage from the whatchamadoodler, from the camera of the car coming in and out. So this is one. Hey, AR. Yeah, they're like, I was listening to the interview that Morrison was doing with Enton again over on East Idaho News, and he's just like, one thing is for sure, he really spent a lot of time alone and in the dark. And I'm like, well, you live by yourself and you're a night owl. That's probably going to happen. Like, so far, the stuff that they're just like, right, exactly. Dude's got game. Can't be too much of a freaking incel if home dude is all like jealous and being like, oh, damn, I dropped the ball. Home dude got that chick's number that I wanted. Doesn't sound like too much of a freaking incel. She literally said he put his number in her phone, meaning she handed him her phone. I was like, yeah, put your number in my phone. Then she grabbed her phone back and then went to where Bryan put his number in, opened up text message and sent him a text message with her name right then and there so that he would have her number too. It wasn't just like somebody trying to flake a guy off and just, well, put your number in my phone and I'll call you. No, nay, nay. She put a whole text message towards him so that he also had her number. That sounds like a lot. Okay, it's back on. Right? There's Catalyst again. Oh, they're talking about the trail. True. Yeah, most people know what my daughter has. She was diagnosed with her condition about a year ago, and we did Make-A-Wish. Just please don't do Disney, please. Like I'm telling you right now, my daughter's name is literally Ariel, and to this day, 10 years later, she regrets making Disney her Make-A-Wish. It was a completely over-exaggerated cesspool of gross. Don't do it. Pick something better. Just trust me. Just trust me. It wasn't a weird text. He's saying Bryan approached them like they were good friends. Yeah. And then Bryan took off into the dark alone. Yeah, because he was hiking, you shithead. It's just so stupid. Yeah. He went for hikes and runs and drives in the dark. What is this business about loving to be in the dark? They're making it sound like it's something so bad. Here's Bloom Blum, whatever. He reminds me of a turtle. Turtle. Yeah, right. Retired profilers coming in now, which means he's going to be profiling off of not true information that's out here saying that he studied Kohberger extensively. How are you studying him extensively if you don't have the evidence? That doesn't even make sense. Because I mean the universe and not God, if you want to be for real. I don't mean one thing. I mean everything in general whenever I say that. See, I don't know because they acted as if the people from the pool party are going to be testifying because the FBI talked to them, but I don't think so. If they've been out here talking and the trial is this close, they're not under a gag order. Now they're talking about the cell tower. This is the piece that was in the little preview thing yesterday where I was like, that whole like 100-meter thing around the house isn't making sense because that's not what the document actually says. And you heard that, like, well, if you're watching it, it just says if you're. We don't know if he was driving, if he was parking or driving past. Well, of course you don't know because it's not true. I imagine so. Yeah, especially since he was new there. It is Garrett Discovery 2.0. Me too. August 16th. Records from his phone obtained by Dateline and in possession of law enforcement show that Kohberger Googled the name of the notorious serial killer Ted Bundy. And he misspelled the Ted Bundy. Okay, so he looked up a homework assignment. He looked up Ted Bundy's name on Google, misspelled the name Ted Bundy, then looked up the name of his WSU professor, and then downloaded something that was actually written about Ted Bundy by that same professor. Is this supposed to be some sort of freaking evidence, broski? Because what are we doing? The professor's name is apparently Emily Pednault. Sounds like homework. What the frick? Homework assignment. Sounds like a homework assignment. Oh, a profiler is now speculating that even though he looked up the name of a serial and the name of the professor, that he actually had as an actual student in real time, and it's not homework. It's not an assignment. This profiler is disgusting. And it's saying H7NDY, that apparently he wasn't looking at his phone whenever he typed in Bundy, and instead of Bundy, he spelled H7NDY. Well, that's interesting. So they even have this Google search results. They have like all the discovery, it sounds like. August 16th, 5:19. Maddie posts the photo of Dylan with her hand up like this in the blue and black dress. Xana's behind her. Bethany's then, and then Kaylee, and then Maddie, and most of the girls have their eyes closed. Now here's the police body cam where that one cop takes a picture of Kaylee's ID, and it's weird. Now there's the one where there's like Emma Bailey walking out of the house that people saw a while back. This is the one from 9/1 of 22 where the cops show up to King Road and no one's apparently home, and the cop talks to Maddie over the phone. Or it's a fake story. I can't believe you believe that so fast. How would Ashlyn's mom know crap about the way the house was whenever her kid was barely there? Come on now. Steve Goncalves literally told us that the doors weren't working. She said they're not going to have somebody of his age in that house, period. I'm sorry, but if they're ever hardly even at the house, then how would they even know, for what? Not to say that he was there, but to say that, oh, he wouldn't be allowed in. I don't know about that. There's the Winco where they stopped him in that traffic stop that's now sealed for no freaking reason at all. Oh, there's a paper. Of course, it's empty. There ain't nothing on it. So they're literally just showing nothing. When can a cop detain you? Was searched a few days after that traffic stop. For what? What was the point? He wouldn't have gotten arrested for asking about how the cop feels whenever people lies to him about wearing seatbelts. Okay, here's the corn stuff. They're trying to say that he was looking up R word spicy movies. But they're not showing anything. It's the same thing that they're trying to say whenever he was Googling Ted Bundy or whatever. Looking up that kind of stuff is not going to be excusable to me. Looking up that stuff in general, I don't care about. Do whatever you want to do. But it needs to be consensual, and the people need to be awake, and they need to be of age. Those pretty much like the top freaking rules, bro. So if he's looking up stuff like that, that could be a whole completely different scenario, and still honestly doesn't mean that he's guilty. If they can't put home dude at the location at the time of the crime, then he's not. They can't say that he did it. It's just plain and simple. If they can't actually put him at the location, then they can't do shit. Doesn't matter how freaking weird he might end up being. Looking up stuff like that, where people are being R-worded, where they're asleep. I mean, we literally just had the case that happened in France where that woman's husband was drugging her and allowing strangers to come in their home in the middle of the night and do things to her, and she had no idea for 20 years. Okay? So, looking up that kind of shit ain't cute if it's true. That's going to definitely be over here on the red flag portion of the column because that shit ain't cute. It ain't cute at all. But I don't know how they have all of this stuff. It's actually quite insane. I don't know how they would have Google records, how they would have phone records. Like, how are they allowed to even have all of this? I don't understand. And like, I keep waiting for the court to say something. I keep waiting for the court to do something. Like how the court hasn't like stepped in and been like, hold up. This is all actual evidence. We're in the middle of a gag order. What the frick are you doing? And they can't say that it's not the true information because we have the security footage that matches what we know is supposed to be. You know what I mean? But everything else is just insane. Yeah, R word. That, yeah. That'll be an issue. And honestly, it could kind of go back to something that Steve Goncalves said, because Steve had said something in the interview with Daniel with Drunk Turkey about moving Kaylee's charges from the state to federal, and the feds told him that there was stuff that they had found on Kohberger's devices that could put him away for at least 20 plus, but that the DP would be off the table. Meaning, like, if something happened, and this is like Steve's freaking words, if there was a technicality that allowed Kohberger out on the state level, then the stuff on his devices and other things they found him being guilty of when it comes to that kind of stuff would lead to federal charges. But what is it? If he's looking up stuff like that and that's the only thing they have, then I understand maybe where Steve might be acting like that a little bit. But if he's watching stuff that's on like P-Hub, you know what? Didn't they have some rules just change? They had some rules or something just change where I think you have to like verify your identity or something now. I don't really honestly know because I don't really care too much. But that's something that Steve said. And so I'm wondering if there is something that he maybe was looking up on his devices that's really just not cute and not okay. And they're saying that they can charge him for that stuff, but that still doesn't have anything to do with the situation itself. And that's a possibility. Let's be for real. Total possibility. So we'll see. That's what I said too. Both, they don't have to study all of it. Because I know that whenever I was in school, now granted, nowhere near as far as this, but for my associates, certain classes I had to take, I know none of that was ever talked about. I'm not trying to look into none of that stuff. So I don't know. And also the timing. It also depends on the timing that he's looking up certain things when it comes to those spicy, nasty videos. There's just so much of that I'll just be like, Okay, it's back. Okay, yeah, he's a TA. Okay, so now they're talking about how he was really demanding whenever he graded because he felt like he was the smartest person in the room. People resented him for that because he expected perfection in the grading. A girl is complaining to Maddie's old boss at the clothing store, and she's mad because she got a C for the first time in her life, and because she was harshly graded. Apparently, that makes him sexist. But we heard that he graded people, both male and females, like that up until his professor basically was like, "You've got to chill the frick out." His friend at WSU, a girl from Korea. That's the lady everyone's been talking. There she be. People have been talking to me about an Asian lady since like week 1 of his arrest. Huh. She told people she felt something about Kohberger. At one point, she approached him as if she wanted a romantic relationship with him, and he pulled away from her. She felt like she wasn't good enough for him. Yes, it's showing her. So she liked him. I didn't know. I didn't know that like the girl that he had, the person that he had become friends with at WSU apartment complex was a chick. They made it sound as if it was a guy. I guess it could have been more that obviously you can have more than one friend, but he went and did like walks with a guy and would talk about stuff a lot. That's why. See, how can you freaking be labeled an incel? You've got a girl that wants to be with you and you're the one telling her no. Gag me with a frickin' spoon. Here comes Gary, duck face eyebrow man. Now here's the photos. Oh, so now Gary's going to feel like he's special because he's been able to see photos. I wonder how Chris McDonough feels that Gary's been able to see photos because they showed Gary photos. So they're showing Gary photos of what's considered being evidence during a freaking gag order without special permission from the court to show Gary these photos. Wild. I'm stunned. Incel where? Na Young Ko is her name. There's a story that happened on September 10th of 2022 inside of her apartment. Is she the one? Oh my god. She's the one who thought that somebody was in her apartment and asked Bryan to help her. Her cake, okay, so she went to go cook a cake. She thought something was wrong with it. She left her house. She came back. The cake was out of the oven and it was in the microwave instead. And instead of certain things like her makeup and stuff being a certain way, it was all lined up. A watch and a purse or something like that was missing too. It was 2 a.m. She called him at 2 a.m. to help her. Yeah. They spend the night together, but it's nothing romantic. He stays there with her all night because she doesn't feel safe. Now he's saying that maybe okay, so that must be where it came from. So I don't know if it really means anything when it comes to what he's trying to say, but she apparently did come up with suspicions. The day before the theft, she couldn't find her apartment key. She usually kept it in her drawer in her apartment office. They shared an office together at WSU. And then after she couldn't find it, it was in her drawer. She tried to install the thing. So even though she tried to be like, "Oh, something's weird. Maybe he moved my stuff, but I can't put the security camera in. So I'm going to call the guy that I think moved my stuff to help me." I'm sorry, but that shit doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense. Exactly. You don't ask the man who you think broke in to help you put the system up. She wouldn't speak to Dateline. So they're going off of what Howard Bloomblum, whatever, said and not getting anything from her herself. Her picture is going to be all over the place. Probably already is. A month into the semester, he has an altercation with the professor. Now we're at a commercial. Dang. They showed her face and everything. Okay, so if she's not going to talk, I wonder if she's going to be one of the character witnesses that they call. That's going to be insane if she gets on the stand and starts talking about how in love she is with Bryan Kohberger. That's going to be wild. I know, it's wild. I mean, I'm really curious. I'm the only reason I'm really entertaining this is because they have that security footage, and it's really confusing because if not Steve Goncalves, then who besides the feds or the prosecution? Steve, for a goddamn fact, had access to that security footage that we're now seeing. He said it himself. He's talked with Brett Norton about it. That's the whole reason why he came out and said that portions of the Linda Lane audio were bullshit because he had access to cameras right there at King Road that didn't match the audio. That was the conversation. So how am I supposed to just not think or not be curious as if about if Steve was the one who did it? But then I think about the rest of it. There's no way Steve would have records like this. This is beyond Garrett Discovery. This is now you're inside his personal phone storage. Now you're inside his Google search results. Now you're inside his call log knowing he called his mama before he took a selfie. That's insane. Just wild. I don't like these commercials. I don't know. I don't know. That's all it said, that they lived in the same apartment complex and that it's the same woman that had somebody break into her apartment that asked Bryan to help install a security system, and that she had approached Bryan about wanting to be with him romantically and he pulled away from her. But I wonder if that was before or after that situation. But again, this is another one that she's not talking to Dateline. So I'm pretty positive she didn't talk to Howard Bloomblum, whatever, either. So this is probably just like third-party people that barely know these people that are going in there and telling them all this stuff, and it's a big, huge game of telephone and everyone's getting it wrong. This is just all insane. And I can't believe this is going to be 2 hours long. 2 hours of insane information. That doesn't even like add up, honestly, to a lot of stuff they've already told us. Like, they can't sit there and try to tell us that there's pictures of the girls and their friends all over his phone, but then stand up in court and say that out of 60 something devices that got looked at, and they're not just standing up in court, guys, that's in the freaking court documentation. We literally have where the lab had no connection literally written when it came to devices in this case, and him having anything regarding them on his devices. So I don't understand how they can come out and say this whenever it's literally 180 of what we've been told. No. Okay, so now they're saying that the dean talked to Bryan. Why are we talking about to this retired FBI profiler who is not looking at evidence in the case? He's looking at mainstream propaganda and coming out here and giving his opinion based off of mainstream propaganda. On September 30th, 2022, at 1 o'clock in the morning, he looked up sociopathic traits in college students, and they're saying that it's because he became self-aware. Gary, Mr. Duckface with the eyebrow, is saying that he was becoming self-aware, so he was seeing if he was a sociopath. Come on, broski. He's literally studying the same shit that you are. Why are you being so stupid? Ew. Gross. Cell tower. Heather has a great diagram on her channel of the cell tower map that shows exactly where the cell towers actually are when it comes to the cell tower stuff that they keep talking to. So you can get an idea just about how far away from both locations, his apartment and King Road, those towers are. Why do they have Gary talking about cell phone location data? Home Dude is not in that department. They should be having people talking that actually have expertise in the subject being asked about. Gary gets on my nerves, broski. Stoners. That's who bakes cakes at 2 a.m. It's legal there. That's probably what was going on. See, and they're just like, they're letting him give scenarios saying stuff like, if he did, if this, if this. No one gives a shit about the ifs. Y'all are out here trying to tell us that y'all have stuff that the state is planning to present for their case. Well, I don't want to hear nothing about no damn if. He's saying that they're trying to say that he stalked them on TikTok and all these different social media so that he could get an idea of the house. Never, it would be so much easier to just go to the website where the house layout is. They're making this more exaggerative than it needs to be. And again, prosecution already said no. Early October, 6:12 a.m. Kohberger browsing images of women from WSU and U of I on his phone. You mean like on Tinder? October 9th, 2:15. Sleeping and substantially unconscious R-wording video searches. Now we have the Pullman pullover that we watched of him talking to the chick cop. I mean, it didn't seem like abnormal behavior to me. I'm just curious about the law. I mean, that's theme. I apologize if I'm asking you too many questions. I mean, everything when it comes to this Pullman thing, we pretty much thought from the Pullman traffic stop that he might be autistic, and all that we just were basically told we were right. 5 days after that, can psychopaths behave pro-socially? I mean, that sounds like a research question. And of course, the retired FBI dude is like, oh, again, he's just becoming more self-aware with himself. No, I think he did that back like 12 years before this, whenever he stopped being big and lost a bunch of weight. He Googled his own name 4 times in a span of 14 days before the crime. Before November 1st, he Googled his own name. I mean, people do that a lot. You'd be freaking surprised, okay? Let me pause this for just a second so I don't not listen. My Aura sponsor literally says, tell people to go and Google their own name so that they can understand why you're telling them their information is just out there all willy-nilly for anyone to grab for nothing. So maybe he watched a YouTube video and Aura was the freaking sponsor, okay? Maybe that's why he Googled his own name. That is such a wide reach. Like, everyone who's anything these days Googles their own freaking name. This is 2025. He approached a female student at the car, didn't like the vibes that he was giving, and the incident was reported to faculty. Okay, I think we heard something about that. November 7th, cell phone tower data. Agent found the phone again connected to the cell tower. Okay, so what? That does not mean 100 meters of within the house, because the tower is not 100 meters of the house. Uh-huh. All after dark. Ooh. Now here's where the debit card stuff stops. They pulled up the paperwork. And then they're talking about how the documents claim that anti-forensic means were used to clear evidence off of his work or school computer. But that part doesn't make sense to me. We talked about this. It's at a commercial. We talked about this on my live, how much that doesn't make any sense, because work computers like that, like a school assigned computer for either a student or a teacher, you're not going to be able to go in there and access all of the settings that you would need to be able to access in order to completely wipe shit off of those computers. You are remoting into a system that you literally have no control over. Some IT department in my company's situation in another freaking country is in control of all that shit. So you really can only go to Google or your browser and clear your cache or your cookies or blah, 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 whatever. Other than that, what do you mean forensically clearing? How? Whatever. He's not going to have the access, the admin permission to be able to go back there and do all of that. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. I would. Seriously, Google your name. You'd be surprised how many brokerage sites has your information, your address, your kids' information, your family members' information. That's why I use my sponsor, in real life, have for over a year. I don't know how prior to a conviction they're able to do this kind of stuff. I don't understand that either. Okay, that you've been taken up for this a lot lately. It's honestly kind of strange. He's literally saying that he got this evidence from the FBI and that it is not all, but most of the information that they plan to present at trial. So yes, he is saying that it is evidence. He's not just saying, oh, it's an opinion and blah, 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 blah. No, ma'am. He's going based off of, I'm assuming you're a ma'am, Purple Daisy. He's going based off of stuff that he is claiming is actual evidence. He is showing the Gary Dr. Dude pictures that he's claiming are coming straight off Bryan Kohberger's phone and talking about real stuff. This is not just opinions and guesstimates. Okay. No, he's claiming he's got it. Came out of his own face. I just don't trust the university. I know a lot of this stuff is like really coincidental and really crazy. And if they can put him at that location, then you're not going to have an argument for me anymore. But until they can put him at that location, I don't care about none of this. Not when it comes to the crime itself. He can be the weirdest little weirdo on the planet, but that doesn't make him a schmurderer. Okay. So we've got to figure that out. And the truth is the only thing that freaking matters here. They can't just be going around saying a bunch of crazy stuff with nothing to back it up. They really just can't. But it happens like this in these cases constantly. The media finds a target that's going to run them up those ratings, and they decided to just keep on going. And they're never going to stop. They're never going to stop. Even whenever they get told that they're wrong, proved that they're wrong, whenever stuff comes out in court and shows that they're wrong, it's not going to matter. They're not going to change anything. They never do. Okay, it's back. The terrible night on King Road. Lots of aerial footage. I wonder how expensive these drones are they have. Game day. Okay, so this is the day of. This is the infamous photo day where the girls are all taking their pictures. Well, with Ethan too. See, that's not true. That's not true. Kaylee had not already moved out and moved most of her things out of the house. Her bed, her dresser, like all of her furniture and everything was still in there. And as a matter of fact, let me pause this for a second, even though y'all can't hear or see that I'm pausing this. Christy said at some point, or one of the two Goncalveses at some point, said that weekend, whenever Kaylee was actually going back to King Road, that the Range Rover was backed up to the front door because she was putting stuff in the car. So how are you going to sit there and say that she was taking all of her stuff out of King Road whenever we've all seen all of the freaking furniture that was still in there? No. They have to be accurate. That's not correct. They just called Dylan and Bethany new roommates. That's interesting. Yeah, everything was still there. Ashlyn graduated a few months earlier and moved out. And to save money, moved back to her parents' place in Coeur d'Alene. That weekend, her parents were out of town. And they had asked her to... What? She stayed an extra day in Coeur d'Alene to watch her parents' dogs instead of going down to watch the game at WSU that weekend. So her parents were out of town. And if her parents weren't out of town, then she probably would have been at King Road spending the night with Maddie and Kaylee that night, which is probably true. Sounds like that's how that would have worked out. He was watching YouTube that night around 8. At 9 p.m., they're talking about the photo of everybody that Kaylee posted. Yeah, let's talk about that for a second too. We know damn well Kaylee wasn't living there anymore. She was about to be graduating. She was going on a trip out of the country and then moving down to Austin. So it is kind of strange that her label for that picture is something about being around these people every day. That you weren't though. Like you weren't even living there anymore. I guess maybe just like talking to them and having them like in her like every day to day, just like in conversation, but she wasn't around them every day anymore. Here's the fraternity stuff. Well, for 2 seconds, and then it went to the corner club. She had a job. What are you talking about? She had a job in Texas. 1:37 a.m. Moving and walking to the grub truck. Somebody just must be walking with like a camera for them. 1:49. One of the girls called. So what? I'm sorry. I'm about to go back on that. What the frick? Did he just call Eric Gower an underclassman? What? He literally just not made no sense whatsoever about the freaking way that they got home. Hold on. Okay. Timestamps are off, but okay. Hey, Wes. No, I didn't see it. I'll look in a second. I'm trying to listen to what he said. Find Nbc'S channel. Okay, this is what he says. At precisely 1:49 a.m., one of the women calls for a young fraternity member who had been assigned to drive home upper class men and women, blah, 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 blah. That is not who Eric Gower was. Eric Gower was not part of a freaking fraternity. Eric Gower was like an actual employee of the university, wasn't he? He wasn't part of a freaking fraternity. His wife works for the freaking police department. So we've got the court documents that they're claiming that they're going off of, calling Eric Gower an Uber driver, and they're instead calling him an underclassman. No, they're saying that this underclassman came and picked them up and took them home. No, it's not Jack. They're saying that the underclassmen came and picked them up and took them home. Jack is already like in the footage of the grub truck standing there in his jacket. So they got it wrong. He wasn't a fraternity member. Jack did not pick them up. Jack is at the grub truck. This is talking about them getting home that night after the grub truck. That's not what they're talking about right here. I know it's difficult because I can't like show it to you, but that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about calling or doing whatever to get the guy over there, right? Like he was not a freaking fraternity member. His wife worked for Moscow Police Department and was big and freaking pregnant. I cannot believe that it's called him a fraternity member. That makes him a college student, and that's not the truth. Wow. $2:26 a.m. is where they're talking now about the 10 calls to Jack. 2:54. Kohberger's phone, they're now showing it being turned off. Why are they showing us a Verizon phone? Why are they showing us this Verizon phone? Now, they have a Verizon document that's been under seal since the very beginning, and it's from how we're understanding it, the phone number that was on his WSU directory whenever his name was first announced before everything got taken off, but that's not the cell phone that he had at the time. That's why the why do I keep saying truck stop? The traffic stop in Moscow has the freaking AT&T number. Steve Goncalves already came out, and according to him anyway, when it comes to being in Bryan's favor in this portion of this, there was no second phone. There was no second phone. So I don't know why they keep showing a phone with the Verizon insignia on the top whenever he clearly had AT&T, and he did since the summer. That Verizon situation was not still a situation. They've already shown us all of that. So I don't know why they're showing us Verizon. Oh, thank you for $4.99, Rose. And thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. And thank you for joining, Kay. I just saw those. Thank you very much. Okay, now here they're showing the security footage. I don't know. It turned on to King Road just off camera. The frick you mean? We're seeing it on the camera. What you mean? See, here's the 3:38 it comes in, and then 3:40 it instantly leaves. And then 3:56. That's gotta be the DoorDash. I don't give a damn. And then 3:58, a car is leaving. That's not the one that they showed earlier, I don't think. Did they? I don't think so, because then they jumped to like 4:07. So here's 4:00 in the morning, and they're saying, by now everyone was in their rooms and some were asleep. Xana about that time got a food order. There's nothing about the DoorDash that says Xana's name at all. It's Ethan's account. Oh, there's the 3-point turn. We went that way, backed up a little bit, and then came forward at 4:07. This is the one last time. Go away, Gary. Now it's time to go in and do this. So ridiculous. So ridiculous. These commercials are so stupid. Yeah, like as soon as it's turning that corner, it just like instantly like flips and takes off the other way. It's like flawless editing. I really was impressed, honestly. Yeah. I don't all of this is just insane. Like just the fact that they have the footage of this car is so insane to me. Like I just don't understand how they're getting away with like showing stuff that they're actually going to show in court. And the court doesn't do anything. That's just insane to me. It'll always just be something that I consider insane. Just wild. So far, it's I don't even really know what to think so far. They're not really doing too much here. Like a lot of his searches, besides the spicy video one, I'm not okay with the spicy video one just because of the subject of the spicy videos. I don't care what he's studying. Unless there's like a real reason for that. That's just not cute, in my opinion. But other than that, like I'm not really seeing or hearing anything that I care too much about. And a lot of the stuff that they're talking about, again, they're not backing it up with anything definitive. They're not backing it up with proof of anything. Anything negative, really, those people aren't there talking. Like that Holly girl really isn't saying really anything bad about Bryan whatsoever. She literally handed him her phone. He put his number in her phone. She got her phone back from him, and she sent him a text immediately so he would have not only her number, but her name as well. Life just got away from her. She literally said there was nothing about it. I just got too busy. It's not like something just told me not to. It's not like I got a weird vibe off of him or anything. She just got too busy to contact him back. And then we have the Asian chick falling in love with him apparently and wanting to be with him romantically and him pulling away from her. I mean, how do we know? Look, I don't know. Okay. But I'm going to say this because people are cray cray and we just don't really know for sure. Okay. How do we know that whole situation with her apartment wasn't after he'd already turned her down and she like made up a whole bunch of cray cray stuff happening in her apartment just to get his attention and get him over there to spend time with her? We don't know. People are crazy. It could be the other way around. He could be batshit crazy and be doing all this crazy stuff. He very well could be. I'm not seeing any proof of that, but we just don't know because she's not coming out here and talking. So I'd love to know like where that story eventually like actually came from originally, because if she's not coming out all this time later and backing it up, it's got to be for a reason. Okay, now it's back and it's showing the footage again at 4:07 of the car coming in and saying, oh, the car parked off camera. I don't believe it did, honestly. Now here they go. They're showing that brown leather knife sheath with the USMC insignia, but they don't have proof of anything when it comes to the blade. Here comes Gary. A culmination of a life where you're constantly being rejected and knocked down on a pedestal. He's literally getting all the numbers at the pool, Gary. What you mean, Gary? Now they built a weird animation. Okay, so he's trying to say that this is an animation that they created That's not true because this looks just like the one that Asget or whatever person that made the 3D rendering of King Road, that bluish, grayish color. That's what the frick this is. They didn't make this. These lying hookers. I cannot believe they just lied. I cannot believe they're not even going to give the person credit. Oh, no, I've seen this entire thing before. Still trying to keep to the theory that Maddie was the target. Saying that Kaylee was in the same bed. To this day, I do not believe that they fell asleep in the same bed. I think that Kaylee went and heard something and walked that way or whatever, and that's where she landed. Okay, so now we're going to Xana's on TikTok at 412. We don't have proof of that anymore, Dateline. They moved it to 316, so this part of your timeline is wrong. Now they're saying that some stuff happened upstairs. He came downstairs, and this is where he ended up running into Xana and Ethan. Saying that Xana ran towards her room. The theory is that he chased Xana down and that the hell of a fight that Steve's been talking about is actually between Xana and Bryan. That doesn't make sense. Here comes the sounds at 417. Is it gonna play it? This isn't the camera they're talking about, you lying idiots. The sounds. I hear the dog barking at 417 and I heard the noises, but I don't know what I think about them. I'm going to go back a minute because I want to hear them again. It sucks I can't show you guys this stuff. Maybe I can show y'all like just this portion because this, okay. You know what, Dateline NBC? You can literally kiss my fat ass, all right? I'm about to show y'all this so that y'all can hear the sound. And then I'll turn it back off and do the things the way that I've been doing it. Listen to the sounds. It's very distorted. You can't see, this is the kind of stuff that drives me insane because I don't really honestly know like where people are getting this from. It doesn't really sound too much like what they're trying to say, but I want to see if you guys can hear the sounds. All right, you ready?
Here are those sounds. A dog began to bark, as if something was wrong.
That's it. That's it. So those are the noises that they're claiming is on the camera at 417. Isn't that insane? Isn't that insane? Admit that Xana. Oh, so now they're trying to say that they know what the blood spatter says. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing there hardly. And that's stupid noises. There's like nothing there. Definitely not whimpers. I didn't hear whimpers at all. I'm busy. Go. Oh, come here, Boom Boom. Come here, Boom Boom. Hello. Lay down, baby. No, get back from there. Boomer. Okay, so apparently the killer saw Ethan in bed, possibly passed out, and with one blow of the knife, an artery was nicked, and that's what the blood spatter will show. I don't understand how we're supposed to think that he was passed out whenever the DoorDash order came from him. I guess Xana could have used his own stuff. Holy shit. Annie Elise was right. They just, well, you know what? I can't even say that. I'm reacting because this is a reaction situation. Annie Elise came out in the very beginning and said that somebody close to the investigation, or somebody that was married close to the investigation, said that Ethan's legs were carved up on like his calves and stuff. And that's what they just said, that Ethan's lower legs were carved. There were impressions of blood in a bedroom chair. They're trying to say that he had time to sit down. Annie Elise said it in the very beginning of this. Now they're saying Dylan surprised him. Bullshit, because she's still alive. Carving up somebody takes time. Good point. There's like no sound on that camera. They need to do better than that. All I hear is like I hear something, but it sounds more like a sliding door is shutting maybe, and then I hear Murphy. Here comes the stupid frozen shock phase. Boo boo. Oh, thank you for the $9.99, Happy Tappy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 20 gifted memberships. Thank you, Andrew. That's very sweet. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. $420, they're going to show the car actually driving. Oh, didn't stop at all. Damn, that's fast, broski. Bro, let me show y'all. They're saying that the car left so fast that he almost hit someone. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if they have actual proof of that. That's wild as hell. All right, let me show y'all this real quick. Just this portion of the car. Hey, really? Okay, ready?
And not to get caught.
And here, at 4:20 a.m., is suspect vehicle.
The seconds look normal. But look how fast this hoe goes. Look.
At a high rate of speed, the car raced toward the intersection,
Look at that.
right, and disappeared from view.
He drifted around that corner.
This car left in such a hurry.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Wild. They're saying that he was panicking and he almost hit someone whenever he left. I don't see where he almost hit somebody. But damn, that car was driving fast. Whoever was in that damn car. Damn. That one was going hella fast. That's cray-cray. Insane. Car was so fast. Can't even see what's happening. That car so sad. Tokyo drifting. Damn. Whoever the hell that is was in a rush. I just know that I really want to go back and I want to look at all of the timestamps and some of the stuff that they've released and the make and model information with the timestamps that they have in some of this footage, because it's wild. They got some stuff going down. And that's also insane that they're trying to say that they enhanced and enlarged those photos of him. I'm like, really? You can't even see what they are. They look like hell. I have no idea what they're trying to like even show me, honestly. No freaking clue whatsoever. I'm trying to get some of this stuff done in the background before the thing comes back, because I just like threw this on, didn't put a photo on it, hardly put anything in the description of nothing. I literally just figured out how to like watch this as I was as it was starting, because I took the boys to a poke bowl place and then came back and tried to like figure out where can I watch this. Oh my god, I can't figure it out. Just all very wild. Just some very wild information. I just really would love to know like how they actually got all of this, because I just don't see how it's like legal for this shit to be happening? I just don't know. Dateline. Oop. All these commercials are annoying. Dateline in NBC, Idaho. Special. I can't wait until they finally pass those laws that say that these stupid medication commercials can't pop up anymore. Because, like, if I got problems and I need a medication, then I'm sure that my doctor is going to tell me. I don't need an ad telling me which one's the best one to pick off the shelf. I can't stand it. It's so stupid. Still going. True Crime Weekly. Okay, it's back. Dylan not locked in her bedroom, you liar. No one ever said that her door was actually locked. No one ever said that at all. She started calling all these people, and he goes, for whatever reason, she didn't call 911. For whatever reason, I wonder freaking why, broski. 422. Dylan to Bethany. No one's answering. I'm really confused right now. Dylan, like a ski mask almost. Something over his head, his mouth. I'm not kidding. I'm so freaked out. But didn't call the cops. Bethany to Dylan. Come to my room. Run. Down here. This is where she sees Xana. Because the door is wide open. Yeah, she would have had to have been like right in that doorway area in order for her to actually see her just like passing by like that. Yeah, they call and text everybody, hear everybody's phones going off, and don't do shit either. Even check snap maps and still don't. Okay. See, now they're showing where his phone came back on that Blaine, Idaho tower, but I want to know how much it actually goes around. See, and there's the other tower. We could have been on any of these roads. See, and then they're saying the tower where he came back in is coming up on the Pullman, like on the west. That's like the Wobbleway Park situation. So now 6:17 a.m. he makes a phone call. To who? Who'd he call? Morrison man. 36 minutes. 6:17 in the morning. To his mom's phone. What time is it in Pennsylvania at 6:17? Oh, he called his dad. Okay, they said earlier that it was his mom that he called right before the selfie. Oh, he called his dad 3 times that morning. The longest call for an hour almost, 54 minutes. The family wouldn't comment. Exactly, they're not going to. Now we have 7:30, Bethany being awake and calling her dad. Yeah, and taking pictures and all these other things too. Yeah, 8:05 on Instagram. They're not talking about all the stuff in between that. Yeah, continuing to reach out to roommates through text and social media and blah, 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 but no answer and still just didn't do nothing. So you're telling me that you didn't have to get up and go pee and see Xana still laying there all them times later? So full of shit. Okay, so he just said that when it comes to the 9 to 9:30 hour of them trying to claim that Kohberger was back at the crime scene, the way that he just put it was somewhere close by. Now they're claiming in the make and model information that there is a highway that runs south that runs past this like gas station. I think it's called a Sunmart. I think it's Highway 95. That's not my area. Okay. So I don't really know the highways like off the back of my hand or whatever, but I think it's Highway 95 that goes south out of Moscow that they're claiming that there's like the white Hyundai Elantra seen on a camera that way. I'm sorry, but it's 9:00 in the freaking morning. It's badass daylight. You can't tell me for sure if that car is Bryan Kohberger's. You got no plate. You don't see him actually being the one driving. I don't give a damn that there's some car that looks like his car going down 95 South in the middle of the freaking morning whenever the sun's going to let you see what's happening. Why can't you tell me if it was him or not? And if he is driving on 95 South to go like past Moscow and he's not going back to King Road whatsoever, then what does it freaking matter what he was doing over there if he was driving south through Moscow and going somewhere else and not going to King Road at all? But they still need to prove that it was his car because they haven't. Even in the documentation we have now, nothing that actually says it was him driving, it was his car, just a similar car. Well, whenever you tell us that there's over 20,000 like vehicles in that area, you're going to have to be a lot more specific whenever you say we saw a similar car here. It could be 20,000 other things. You've got to give us real information here. Okay, yeah, and so it's 10:30 in the morning, and he, according to the people that have been posting about this, that apparently know the people in his family, or at least they're claiming to know the people in his family, that picture was because he buttoned up his button. And they're not telling us stuff about any other day. Him talking to his parents that much might be normal. I don't talk to my parents that much. I'm not a people person, no matter really who you are, family or not. I just don't really like to talk to people that much. But for him, that might be normal, for him to be on the phone with them for hours and hours, back and forth. Some people are like that. Some of you are probably like that when it comes to y'all's family. Okay, yeah, Clarkston and Lewiston, we know all about that spot. Yeah, we know that. Could have been disposing of evidence, sure. Then there's the river. Spending time with them, yeah, but like on the phone, I guess I just don't really have to because they're all pretty much like right here. Howard Bloomblum is saying that it was just too much for the two girls to handle, so that's why they didn't call 911. I don't give a damn. I don't care what their bullshit excuse is. You've got two different people that were raised two completely different ways that chose not to call the cops. And Dylan apparently seeing Xana, meaning that it didn't matter. To her, she didn't give a single shit that her friend might have been passed out and actually no longer alive from alcohol. Okay? That's what could have been the situation. And she didn't give a shit. She didn't give a single shit. Okay, now here comes the 911 call situation. I'm sorry, but Bethany talking in that high-pitched little voice thing, I can do that on cue. I did it the other day whenever we were talking about this video. It doesn't sound real to me. Oh, 112. It just doesn't sound real. They've had 8 hours to figure this out, and they've been taking pictures, editing pictures, deleting pictures, doing who knows what with pictures and video, and both of them were talking to their parents hours before the 911 call, okay? Miss me with the bullshit. And see, a lot of people are still saying the other lady on the 911 call is not Emily, that it was a random person, the same way that the judge did. Now here comes the cops. Now talking about how Ashlyn ended up finding out about it. Younger, they're more dangerous. Look at those slender face girls, Slender Man girls. They went back to Ashley's mom. It's the same spot that we saw. It is really sad. Oh, she's got one of those old wood burners. That shit's pretty. This Katie Woodmeyer lady that was like the boss of Maddie at the clothing store is really pretty. She's very made up, but she's freaking pretty. She's barefoot. This instance changed her from not believing in carrying a pew-pew to wanting to carry a pew-pew damn straight. Carry them on everywhere I go. Okay, now we're back on a commercial. Yeah, Dateline's ahead of mine because I went back to like show you guys some stuff on the footage so that you guys, some people that aren't watching it could see the footage. So I am a few minutes behind. Thank you for the $10. Hey there. Thanks for all the work you do on these cases. So much covering up in this case. Hope you have a great weekend. Not much, but appreciate your critical thinking. It's just you watching is enough for me. I very much appreciate that. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great weekend too. I hope you have a great weekend too. Izzy. I found it really interesting that the information that you had said the other day about him not being on any sort of like mental health medications came out like right before the defense came out talking about how he doesn't have this, that, and the third. So I'm wondering if some other stuff ended up getting leaked before that, because there was a lot of people in here talking about it. There was a lot of people in here talking about that. All these ads. I'm glad I don't have cable TV. Yeah, that's something I'm expecting them to say. I'm in a commercial still. It should show up here in a minute. That's what Bloom whatever has been saying since the beginning, was that one of the sisters was going to come out and ended up saying something, but that the other sister and the mom and the dad are apparently not on that track, that train of thought. So I'm really just curious, like, is this the sister that he stole the cell phone from whenever he was a minor and that just didn't like him because she felt like he was just this troubled kid? Because if it's the sister that just has issues with Bryan, then I don't really know how much of what she's going to say I can really believe either, especially if the other three members of his family are claiming the opposite, if that ends up being the case. It's going to be really difficult for me to believe just like one pissed off sister who doesn't like her brother over the other three people is basically what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Oh, thank you for the $20, Ramalama. Do you have any thoughts on Rolo Mato's Banfield analysis? No, I do not, because I do not watch that channel. I have a past with him, and me and him butt heads a lot. I don't watch him. So I don't know what he's figured out or whatever. I also try to like just not have a bunch of people's opinions in my heads about stuff, because I don't like my opinions being, I guess, I don't like anything being suggested on stuff. I know that there's been some talk here, or at least it's recent for me, of people that are going in and finding like somebody walking up to a car in the rearview mirror of one of the cop cars that looks like a white Elantra, and there's like a box in the Banfield that looks like it was sitting there, and then the box is just suddenly gone. Then it just goes sort of back to like the 4chan thing of the frat guys having like these multiple little kill kit things everywhere and, you know, just making it easy for them. That's how it feels like to me. But when it comes to him, no, I don't watch his channel. But if there's something new people are talking about, then I'll go research and look for it up myself. But I really just can't like have everyone else's like opinion about it already in my head, because then I'll see it that way and not like my way, if that makes sense. Like I'll ultimately see it with my own opinion. Y'all know what I mean. These ads need to come on now. Okay, meteorologist man. I'm so glad I don't have cable. Oh, I could not do this. How did we do this as children? Okay, it's back. November 14th, the day after. Mm-hmm. So again, just like young women, let's just forget that Ethan exists, right? She gets on my nerves. There's the sheath. Well, a sheath. See, like this one. They're still not showing us the real thing. Like, just show us a freaking evidence photo already. Jesus. Now they're trying to say that that was actual click history. It's not. It's fake, generated for the show. 2 days after the murders, November 15th, the records show Kohberger was back on Amazon at 4:34 a.m. looking at K-bars. He even clicked on buy now and began the checkout process before exiting. University of Idaho murders the next morning at 9:16 on November 16th, not November 13th at 9 o'clock in the morning. So is that what Steve was going to try to say? Is the nail in the coffin for Kohberger because he Googled something right before the 911 call? Did he get his timestamps wrong? Because that said 11:16 at 9 o'clock in the morning. And according to this, that's the very first time Kohberger ever even searched the murders. So the sheath thing is interesting. Let me go back and listen to what they said about that one more time. Was it the full kit or was it like just a sheath? Two days after the murders, November 15th. Record show. 4:34 a.m. Back on Amazon. This is the click activity because it's like every 2 or 3 seconds. Interesting. 9:16. This is still November 16th at 9:16 in the morning. So on 11:15, he is looking at K-bars, went to go try to buy one, and then changed his mind last minute. I do that all the time. That buy now button's dangerous. Let's be so freaking real right now. Okay. Then 11:16, 9:16 in the morning is the first time that he even Googled University of Idaho murders. So that's not right before the 911 call. I just feel like this is what Steve was talking about. I feel like he probably knew what Dateline was going to come out and say, and this is what Steve was talking about, and Steve had his freaking timestamps wrong. I could be wrong myself. But to sit there and really like insinuate that he Googled something very freaking specifically, or that he was looking for something really freaking specific right before the 911 call, and then they just glance right over that whenever they're supposed to have all of the information, and then we get a 9:16 3 days later, I feel like this is probably the one that Steve was talking about, and he's just mistaken. And again, I could be wrong. It could be. So it took him 3 days to even bother looking it up. Then comes the conference. Sure, Fry. Sure you will. You didn't solve shit. 12:16 a.m., November 18th. The perfect killing machine. Ted Bundy serial killer is something that he looked up, I guess. Watched a YouTube video about the key victim. So did everyone else. Then on the 18th, he went to the DMV. This is whenever he did his plate thing. That was already needing to happen anyway. So he took pictures of his car with his new plates. That seems pretty freaking normal to me. So he was probably watching, yeah, Idaho College Murders, your questions answered with Detective Ken Maines. Idaho College Murders. No, show me that one. I want to see the videos. They're trying to say these are the ones he watched. Okay, so there's Banfield. Idaho College Murders with Detective Ken Maines. Case linkage, fantasy driven. The next one is just law and crime with just the picture of the kids, the college people in the house. And then the next one is News Nation of them taking evidence out of King Road. And then Detective Maines answers the public's questions, Idaho University murders. Okay, that kind of tells me that Bryan Kohberger is a fan of Ken Maines. Doesn't that kind of tell you that Ken Maines is probably somebody who he takes his word to heart a little bit, that he maybe likes the way that he talks? I mean, I don't know. There's a bunch of freaking weirdos out there. Some of y'all are in here right now. Some of y'all are in here right now who don't like me, but they spend their days watching me and vulturizing my comments and commenting and running their mouths because they're low-key freaking obsessed. So I guess you can low-key obsessively watch somebody that you don't like, because I know some of you are doing it right now. So maybe that's a possibility. But this sounds like he just watched Ken Maines stuff all the time. That's like multiple. Who's the Killer? With Joseph Scott Morgan and Gemma Claudette and Professor Steve Smith. Okay. 60 times. He did what 60 times? See, I was trying to watch the thumbnails. What did he say? What did he do 60 times? There's the YouTube stuff. Inside Edition. Then there's the DMV stuff. See if that's interesting. Okay, now there's Banfield. Then here comes, okay, so over 6 weeks, photos, videos, and news updates were viewed or saved on Kohberger's phone over 60 times, at least 60 times. Everybody in my chat right now has more than that on their phone about this case. What you mean? What you mean? ISP finds DNA on the sheath, sends it to outside lab. Same day, Amazon records show Kohberger searched for utility knife sheath and a K-bar leather sheath. Oh, I just did the sheath thing. Oh my God. Sheath at the exact same time. So that is specific. Okay. You cannot see, that's where I don't understand. They're trying to say that he was trying to figure out how to delete your Amazon account history. You can't. What date was this? Hold on. I need one more. I need to go back one more time. The 22nd. November 22nd. That's whenever they did the DNA thing. And they're saying the same day as whenever he searched for leather utility sheath. But you know why that might not matter? Because what he was doing meant that he had to help the police department. And all of the police departments were working on this case. And there's a very, very, very high probability here that Bryan Kohberger actually had heard things about the case before this. Maybe he knew that there was a knife sheath that was found because of the people that he already had connections with because of his job. If you look up what he's supposed to be doing, an apprenticeship, something to do with the Pullman Police Department, all of that. I know that he apparently wasn't in that portion of it yet, but that class was still very much involved with the Pullman Police Department. So there's a huge possibility he was looking up that sheath because he'd already heard about that sheath. It's possible. Utility knife sheath and K-bar leather sheath. He could easily have heard about it before that. See, and there's that Amazon account thing. You really just can't. Oh, there's these selfies are weird, but it's because of the way they're editing them. November 27th. I mean, he's just taking pictures of himself in a black hoodie. It's not a big deal, but the way that they're putting this blurry stuff on it makes him look weird. Okay, so that just looks like he. So the one that they showed, one of them looks like he meant to take it, and the other one looks like he was like talking and accidentally took it and just didn't delete it. Not a big deal. And then he watched Echoes of Ted Bundy from Dr. Grande about Maddie and Kaylee. And then he typed his own self on November 30th. Isn't that his birthday? No, it's not his birthday. And in early December, he's still watching Original Night Stalker, stuff about Sons of Sam. Okay, none of this is abnormal. He was a criminology student. We watch this shit every day. We watch the people that are watching this stuff right now on Dateline are hearing themselves be described in a lot of this. I wonder if Dateline even realizes that they're talking about the majority of their audience right now. December 6th, after midnight, he looked up K-bar knife again for the knife itself. No, knife in a sheath. I'm telling you, there's a big possibility he'd already heard something about the case. Maybe you're thinking about Gary, that Gary doctor just said, maybe you know that you're not going to get captured, or maybe you think you're not going to get captured, so you want to do it again. Okay, but he already had the knife. Why would he need a sheath that doesn't do any damage to a body to go out and do it again if he did it in the first place? That logic doesn't make sense. I feel like I'm missing stuff. Let me stop this for a second. What am I missing here? Oh, thank you for the $20, Vanessa. Happy Mother's Day. Thanks for your hard work day after day. Much appreciated. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Member for 9 months. Happy Mother's Day weekend. Thank you for your hard work. And happy early Mother's Day weekend to all of you guys that are mommies out there too. Thank you so much. All right, now we're on this press release where they're finally doing the BOLO for the vehicle for the white Hyundai Elantra. December 10th. This is where Othram would have sent their stuff back. Okay, they're talking right now about the genealogy databases, and I find it really interesting that in the interview that Keith Morrison did over on East Idaho News, he sits there and admits that he basically, because again, he's claiming that he has all of this discovery, okay? He's sitting there admitting about all the loopholes and all the things about how they used a bigger database where people didn't give consent. So we're just going to acknowledge the fact that the entire public, and now, this big, huge public platform that's apparently claiming to have gotten all of this case evidence against Kohberger, now they are even coming out here and admitting the bullshittery, and still nothing is going to get done, and nothing is going to happen in court because of all these things that were done illegally. Because now both sides have decided that it doesn't matter. It's really freaking frustrating. That's true. See, how can I be some sort of weirdo who wants to have Kohberger's babies? I don't even know his freaking birthday. I've heard some people come in here and say like the stupidest stuff, and I'm just like, what? Okay, I'm just gonna get back to this now. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's talking about how they moved it to another platform with millions more possibilities, and that the terms of service prohibit law enforcement from using customer data. Oh, there's CeCe Moore. She's the first one who came out and kind of like talked about this. Well, she's also like considered like the mother of IGG. And these are guidelines, not suggestions. Then why are they considered terms of service, and you have to agree to terms of service if they're not rules? They got permission to upload to MyHeritage surreptitiously. Can't even say that word. Okay, now they're talking about Michael Kohberger flying to WSU. My kid must have just taken out the trash. Howard Bloom. Oh, here comes Howard trying to say, oh, now the dad's getting suspicious. There's no proof of that. December 15th, 2:58 in the morning. He gets on YouTube. The quote says, something is wrong with me. I can't be who I need to be. Something is wrong with me. Will it last for eternity? That sounds like a song. So you're telling me that instead of just telling us the name of the song that he apparently listened to, you're going to be on here, Mr. Morrison, with all your ridiculousness, acting like he watched something nefarious and ominous and all kinds of sketchy and shit on YouTube because all you're doing is saying he watched a video that contained this quote. You mean the lyric? Let me go back. I have to go find the song. It's so stupid. These people are on my damn nerves. Okay, what does it say? What does it say? Come on, get to it. Watched a video on his phone containing this quote that read, something is wrong with me. I can't be who I need to be. Something is wrong with me. Will it last for eternity? What freaking song is this? It's called How to Heal from Loner Wolf. Is what just popped up. But that might not be right. I mean, I misspelled some stuff because I was typing really fast, so I don't know. That's just the first thing that pops up. It might not be right. But you know what? That actually really isn't too big of a deal either, because if he's looking up like self-help type stuff, it sort of goes back to the stuff that he was doing as a teenager. That doesn't really mean shit either, honestly. I mean, we all have our like dark thoughts about how we feel about ourselves and our lives, if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, if we're here for a reason or for no reason whatsoever. Like, we all feel like that. So that doesn't really do anything for me. Here's the traffic stops on 12:15:22 at the 10:42 a.m. one. This car is so disgusting. And then here's the one at 15:40, which is what, 3:40? Oh, they just sort of did it a little bit opposite, I guess, when it comes to the IgG stuff. They said they traced it to a geological area and then to the family. I don't know. December 21st, he takes 2 more selfies in a beanie and a black hoodie. Same black hoodie from before. WSU black hoodie. If he was going to try to be all inconspicuous and try to look all gothic and emo and shit, why would he wear a hoodie that has a white insignia on the front? This is Howard Bloom. Saying one of the sisters is telling the dad that there's a problem. Okay, now we're at a commercial. Jabus. This is wild. Wild. Thank you for the $10. Keyboard Crown Powder. If I heard the judge tell both sides to come up with a lie together for how they came up with me as a suspect, I've had dropped dead from disbelief. No shit. Like, how is that right there? The fact that they're sitting there saying to the world that we're going to allow both sides to come up with a lie. How is that not automatically something that can be appealed? How is that just not something that this, like, the Idaho Supreme Court hasn't stepped in and been like, I'm sorry, you're advising both sides to do what now? You're going to make somebody get on the stand and testify under oath a fabrication? What? No, I don't understand how that's happening. I don't understand how that's happening at all. They're going to say he listened to Britney Spears. She's lost her shit. I know there's reasons for it, but damn, I don't even know if she's really her. You know, I'm one of them conspiracy people when it comes to Britney Spears and all this celebrity stuff. There's just too much going on there. Way too much going on there. Waiting on these commercials. This is just insane. If we could just like hurry up and get over these airplane commercials. And can you believe that we used to all like love the shit out of Britney Spears? And don't act like you didn't. Anybody in here trying to say they didn't like Britney Spears back in the day is a damn lie. I would be. Oh my God, I know the way that cinema talks about Britney is wild. I used to be in the swimming pool all the time in the summer singing Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera at the top of my lungs. Thank you very much. So don't even try to play like that. She's off of her freaking rocker now. But she used to be, all that in a bag of chips. Maybe some Cheetos. These commercials need to come on. Getting on my nerves. I don't believe you, bro. I don't believe you. It's actually funny because like I can say that and I can say that NSYNC was my first concert and then I'm just totally like not that way at all. Oh my God, stop with all of the medications that if you take it, the side effect is that you're gonna die anyway. This is also stupid. Leave Britney alone. That Chris, what was his name? Chris what? He's a chick now. I think he goes by Christina. Chris Cornell's Audio Slave. That's like reigning king. Chris who? I can't remember the Chris. Chris Crocker. Chris Crocker. Yeah. That's funny. Can we get off with these commercials already? How do y'all people with cable do this? I don't understand. I used to listen to Soundgarden. Block them. Block them all, Patty. Block them all. Okay, so now they're in Pennsylvania and they're talking about needing a sample of Bryan's DNA to match it to the sheath DNA. See, I need some clarification on this damn trash pool story because this shit isn't making sense to me. This one and the one on the CW and the story from before court has made it sound this whole time like they pulled some sort of like incognito secret freaking top mission to go and get trash out the trash can at his parents' house. But then whenever like the court documents come out and they talk about it in the courtroom, they're making it sound as if they had the trash truck go like in and do like a special run or some shit. Like basically the trash truck is the one that went in there and got the trash. So what was it? Was it during the freaking day whenever the trash truck was supposed to go in and it was like a normal thing to not tip off the people in the house? Or did y'all go and do this like covert shit in the middle of the night? Which one is it? It can't be both. It's got to be one or the other. Okay, yeah, we know that it was supposed to be the dad's DNA. Okay, YouTube program called Ted Bundy, The Essence of a Psychopath. But that said psychopath with no H. They're saying, oh, I see what they're doing. Okay, so he watched something about Ted Bundy that has Ted Bundy on the front cover in a black hoodie. And so they're saying that right after he got done watching that clip, he took 2 selfies of himself in that exact same black hoodie. I will say that's a bit strange. That's almost like you're trying to compare yourself to the serial killer dude in the black hoodie. And like, I get that like you're studying stuff, but that's a step too far. That's a little bit too much, in my opinion. If this is even true, of course, because that's not just my opinion on the reaction. And it's the one selfie that they've already shown, the one that looks like These all look really Photoshopped, but it's obviously apparently because they're trying to act as if they did some sort of digital enhancement. No, you didn't, you damn liars. You made them worse. That was December 28th, I think he said. December 29th at 11:53 p.m. There's the Britney Spears. Criminal. That's the song. Can I throw up now? Can I throw up now? Really? I wonder if she knows about this case and how she feels about this if she does. I have 5 black hoodies. I have like 5. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the version of this. I'm gonna let it play like how it's playing it, because it's not a normal, for the ones of you that haven't seen it, that aren't watching this. The Britney Spears song that he listened to, the criminal one he listened to, was like a slowed down, edited version. So let me show you. Okay, I'm gonna play this. You ready? So y'all can hear like the version that he's listening to.
Bryan Kohberger pulled up a song on his phone by Britney Spears. The title? Criminal.
Look, it's a weird version.
He listened to an edited version that had been slowed down and posted on YouTube. He's got no conscience, he got none. It seems
What an odd version to choose. They're saying that he only listened to that song because he knew he was being watched as a criminal. This is right before he got arrested. Now they're talking about guy in a black hoodie turning off the light in the kitchen, going out to the garage, all the things, wearing rubber gloves. Who cares? He did all the time. Saying he had a plastic bag. Honestly, he was probably rolling him something. Let's be so for real right now. Okay. Dude probably smoked doobies and carried Glocks. That's what it sounds like. They tied zip ties around his parents' hands. Yeah. Here comes the whole, maybe we should get coffee when this is over thing. It is wild. Oh, he probably did think it was going to have a happy ending because he knows he didn't do it. He was just somebody that maybe the girls would have never noticed, which was maybe the problem. Excuse me, did y'all not see that hot ass chick he got the phone number of? I'm sorry. Holly's like a 10. Fuck you mean? He's so much taller than those cops. That's just insane. This is him being back in Idaho. Now he's in court. This is Judge Marshall. They're just talking about court stuff and how it's slowed down since the DP has been announced because it made the process more. Now they're talking about, and they're basically trying to like make it okay for the house being demolished because they're saying that it's just like a tourist trap. Yeah, there it goes. And now they're talking about the change of venue. One, two. The little bit old plane they put him on, as big as he is. Hell to the nizzle. I had never been on a plane since my daughter's Make-A-Wish trip, and I'll never get on a plane again. I'll freaking swim. I'm not going to get in a plane. Okay, now we're talking about Daybell and Grinch Face. I don't know why we're doing this. Okay, why are we talking to that guy? He doesn't have anything to do with this case. He's the Daybell Vallow guy. Why are we talking about this guy? I guess because the case that he did with Lori Daybell and Chad or whatever, those freaking weirdos, I guess because it's such like a popular case, he's just given his experience with like the world constantly looking at what he's doing. Cameras constantly. That question. Okay, so now he's saying, now there's this guy on there that's only spoken like one other time. I don't even know who he is, what he does. I don't know. Big guy. And then just now bringing up the fact that now that there's possible alternative or alternate perpetrators being brought up in court, that should be something that people are concerned about. And then it went to a progressive commercial. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Guess we'll see. Yeah, there's no way they're going to try to say that. Because what Steve said, man, look, let me tell y'all this right now. I went to go and listen to the rest of the interview that he did that Steve Goncalves did on Ashley Banfield's. I put too much freaking coconut oil in my hair. Holy crap. I went to go listen to that interview where he did it on Ashley Banfield's like personal channel. He says a lot of really just interesting things. A lot of really, really interesting things. I really thought that I was going to just come out and do a video about like the stuff that he said that was different and that it wouldn't be that big of a review video. But I think I'm going to have to actually sit down and watch the whole thing because he just says some really interesting shit. Okay. Really interesting shit. One thing that he does say is that Kaylee's injuries to her face and her like head area, that the blows were so bad that alone would have taken her life. I don't like how my hair feels. So that's interesting because people were saying that they were also saying in the Facebook group, and a bunch of people in the live chat validated that they had seen this or whatever, that what was it that he had said? There was knuckle indentions or something like that. So some people were wondering if it was like brass knuckles, but then some people were like, well, brass knuckles would have left injuries on the guy too, because it's like metal. So he doesn't have any injuries on his hands. So I don't see how he could possibly have been the person that beat the ever-loving shit out of Kaylee's face so much that alone would have taken her life away. That she would have died from those facial injuries alone. And then he also had time to carve up Ethan's legs. I'm sorry, what? And no, Annie Elise did say that. As much as I don't like her, she said that in the very beginning, she did a video, and I think it was already when she was doing her Serialistly or whatever her freaking little thingy is that she does now that she's a bot woman with a company. I don't know the name of it. But she came out and said that if somebody contacted her or whatever that's married to a cop from there or married to an ISP cop or something like that, it wasn't like an actual official source. It was somebody who knew somebody. And that's what she was told, was that Ethan's legs were carved up. That's an insane detail, because what's the freaking point in that? What is the freaking point in that? I almost wonder if really they were like fighting, and at some point the person was on the ground with the knife and Ethan was over them. And so the guy or whoever it was, guys were just swiping at Ethan's legs. And that's really what happened there. Because that's all they could reach. If that's even true. That's just insane. That's an odd ass detail. No, they're just talking about like the possibility of a death penalty actually happening and the jury stuff coming up. He's this guy said that it's probably going to be majority white males who want to convict of the DP, like who will actually push the DP, which is probably going to be what it's in. It's going to be majority a bunch of white guys. Now y'all are all going to start yawning. You're welcome. See, this is also crazy that they're doing this because this K-bar sheet that they're showing has like little scratches and like rubs on the leather, giving it like a white marking. They're really trying to make it seem as if this is like an old used up K-bar sheath, and that's not the case. They damn well know they bought this just for this freaking episode and they messed it up themselves. That's not true. It doesn't actually say that he actually bought that one. If they would just come out and give us the freaking invoice detail that actually shows that the knife sheath has the USMC logo, I couldn't complain. I couldn't say that they were being vague and undescriptive and lying and blah, 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 because they would show us. Why not just freaking show it to us? Why do we need to have a freaking federal agent come out and talk about the Amazon purchases? Never. All you need to do is print the freaking receipt off the account. So stupid. Inadmissible because the FBI went outside their own guidelines. So because the FBI broke their own rules, it's not admissible in court. Why isn't that instantly a mistrial? Granted, that doesn't answer the question all the way, okay? And I don't really give a damn about technicalities. I want the truth. I want all of it, all right? But how is that not an instant like problem? Now here's the policy again. We don't go into private DNA databases. We have to have a warrant. But they didn't get a warrant. They went in there the way that they weren't supposed to. And this chick said, well, if they went that way instead of doing it the way they were supposed to, it's probably because they couldn't actually establish probable cause. Yeah, because they didn't have probable cause. They had a name from a thingy and it didn't even do any good. No probable cause. Yeah, that would be the main reason to do it like a shithead. I need to show y'all this sheath. I need to show y'all this damn sheath that they keep showing us so y'all can see that it looks worn. Hold on, it's almost there. I had to go back. Hurry up. Come on, hurry up, Howard Bloom. Okay. Look at this. Look at it. It has markings on it like it's been scratched on something, like it's been worn.
Implying, of course, that Kohberger's DNA on the sheath was either planted or transferred somehow.
See how it looked worn? That's wild. See, I don't see how they can come in here and say that kind of stuff without giving us the original information. Now, I did go through one of the documents, and there was a measurement for the amount of DNA that was actually found. I did an entire video about this already. I just haven't been able to post it because I need to finish reading the rest of the document. I did the affidavit of Riley Nowlin or whatever in 2 different parts. So what I did, I posted something the other day, and some of you in here, I noticed your names on here, went and took that survey about what I think it was called. Are they called plasmids or something like that? It's something that I was looking up at the time that I'm going to have to relook up again. It's a portion of the DNA construct and something that they can use to manipulate something that is highly used in cloning and in DNA testing. It's a certain particle inside of the DNA cell that apparently can break away and replicate on its own. And it's highly loved by bioengineering people because of how well you can manipulate it in order to clone it. You can literally input a DNA fragment, and then it will replicate the manipulated DNA. So it's been extremely interesting whenever it came to the type of measurement they're trying to say really was when it came to the DNA, because it's not a small amount, which brings us even more questions. When I put in this measurement into these different things to try to figure it out, it says that it's actually a pretty highly concentrated. That's interesting because the entire time that we've been playing this game, they've been saying that there wasn't enough DNA for the defense to be able to test it themselves. The whole time. They're saying, no, there wasn't enough. We could only do what we could do, and that's it. Well, then all the truth came out about the IgG work that was really done and how it went back and forth and went to Othram and came back and went to the feds, and ISP was doing theirs too. And then we have the mitigation one. So there's technically 4 family trees out there right now, if not more, because we don't really know what anybody else has been doing with stuff. So there's just way too much in all of this. There's still just way too many freaking questions when it comes to this stuff. And again, I just don't understand how they're able to come out here and give us all of this information that's really 180ing the stuff that we've actually heard in court right now. And the information's coming from the feds, who, on top of Keith Morrison constantly coming out and being like, by the FBI, taken, how's he putting it? It's something about how Dateline is the only one that has this stuff and it's coming from the FBI. So you're taking the information from the agency who broke their own laws. For one, taking what they're saying, even though you have experts now talking to you and saying that the only way that they would have done all of this is because they didn't actually have probable cause to begin with. So you're taking all of those liars' information, all of those cheats, all of those manipulators, all of those losers who are literally paid to lie and manipulate you literally every single day. You're taking their word for it and running with it, while also reporting on the fact that they broke the law and all this crazy shit was going on. But your entire show is backed on their receipts, the same people that you're now out here outing. Am I crazy? Is that what's happening? That's what's happening here. That's what's happening here. Okay, so now we've got a guy with long gray hair talking to us about DNA. I guess he's trying to say that you really can't tell how DNA gets anywhere. All it can really tell you is what it is, not where it came from, which isn't false. You can't tell how many times it's transferred. You can't tell when it transferred, but you can tell who it transferred from. Well, yeah, exactly. You can't tell how it got there, but you can usually tell where it, belongs. Y'all didn't hear because we can't listen to this like normal freaking people. Keith Morrison literally just said it's the only thing. Oh, this DNA guy who just said all that stuff works for the Idaho Innocence Project. That's interesting. No evidence except the knife sheath, links Kohberger. He's saying that's what the defense is going to argue. He just said it too, sweetie. The state is only going to argue that that doesn't make sense because the car was clean. That's not enough, sweetie. There's no way that the individual would have been able to remove themselves without being immersed in a lot of blood. Sweetie baby, that didn't happen. There's not a speck of blood on the outside of the room. Yeah, meaning there's no blood in the rest of the house, just in the bedrooms, which is what we kind of figured. Here comes the alternate perpetrator information from the court. We came across a tip for an alternate suspect. Yeah, that's what Ann Taylor said. Well, thank you for admitting you don't know shit about shit, but we kind of knew that already because there's no way. Okay, good. The unidentified DNA. Are they going to mention all of it? Bannister and Glove. That's the only ones they're going to mention. Are we going to talk about Maddie's fingernails? Are we going to talk about the fact there's blood on the knife sheath that does not match Bryan Kohberger? Are we going to talk about those things? Howard Bloomblum. Defense attorney from Spokane is talking now. He said, of course, they try to stop you from knowing that there's possible other suspects because that's never its game on. Pretty much is what he said. Oh, here comes little Dylan, who looked at Bryan and said, I don't recognize this dude. Yeah, and I really cannot wait to hear the audible gasps in the room whenever she says, I don't recognize that dude, or however she says it. We're on a commercial now. Shouldn't be too much longer. I'm behind a few minutes. It says I still have about 11 minutes. That's because I went back to like show you guys some stuff. I wanted to like go back further, but it only lets you go back like an hour. I didn't know if StreamYard would let me like open up a new tab and record this on the like recorder and go live. I pay $50 a month for this stupid thing, so you'd think it would do dual things. But I was like such in a panic trying to figure out how to even get this to watch it, much less to go live and do all those other things. I just completely didn't even like bother with it once I finally sat down and got it all figured out. But I have my reactions to everything, and I'm just going to end up going. What I'll end up doing, because this is going to be obviously over 2 hours, and we're going to like recap here for like 30 minutes or so after this like ends and I turn all this stuff off. I'll probably end up going back at some point this weekend. Damn, those interviews, this stuff. We're probably going to get more documents tomorrow because it's Friday, and there's still a few we have to catch up on. What is today, the 9th? We have a hearing coming up on the 15th too. I'm gonna do my damnedest, broskies. All right, I'm gonna do my damnedest to like get caught up and then go back and listen to this and just do like a breakdown of all the crazy stuff they're trying to say, just so that it's a little bit shorter, maybe about 15 minutes or so. I just don't know the order in which I'll do things, because I really want to go back and get all the information from Steve's interviews, especially since there's some idiots out here that are acting like I'm purposely not talking about some of the stuff that Steve said. Never minding the fact that they obviously don't pay attention to everything I talk about, because I've literally touched on pretty much everything that he has said. Just because I haven't done a video about it specifically doesn't mean that I haven't talked about it. We've talked about it all of it. The Google searches, the nail in the coffin, everything that he feels about all the things. We talked about all of it. But I need to still go in and get all the other stuff, because there's just a lot. There's a lot. Super lot. And really a lot of it is just like more proof that they're not really telling him anything, and that all of this is really going all the way back to the very beginning, even from whenever Mabbitt was still calling them and making phone calls and stuff. And he also validated pretty much in the Ashley Banfield video interview that he doesn't have anything when it comes to Kaylee's injuries in paper. That when it comes to her multiple skull fractures, her broken nose, all those things, that was word of mouth told to him over the phone by Mabbitt. He doesn't have anything else. He even said he wouldn't continue any more details unless they met with him in person, because he didn't want to just say stuff that was said over the phone, which is just proof that he legitimately has no proof of shit. He's been coming out here boo-daying and crying because everyone's like, oh, well, y'all have information. You're the families, blah, blah, blah. And he wants everybody to feel sorry for him. But you come out here acting like you know it all, sir. So if you don't want people coming out here trying to tell you, hey, you must know something, you're being quiet, why aren't you answering questions? Why are you not answering this? Why are you not saying this? Don't come out here acting like you have all the answers, because you're literally just getting what you're giving. You're putting this energy out into the universe, and the universe is coming right back at you, expecting all those answers that you keep claiming to have, sir. So if you don't want that, you've got to stop the shit. You got to stop the shit. You got to stop coming out here and pulling this. And he even says it's the state's fault. He blames it on the state, guys, that they're coming out here with all this stuff that they're out here saying is the state's fault because they're not telling them what to say. He says all of this. He says all of this. So the fact that people are out here listening to Steve still and not telling him, shut the hell up, get off of the TV, stop talking, stop. Just stop. Like, does no one care enough about that dude to really just put him in his place for a minute and make him chill the hell out? It's like he's never been told no and to quit your shit ever in his life. It's insane. This is not the time, Steve. Okay, the show's back on. Here's the courtroom. Dave Leroy, Attorney General person. Show me more. We're going to call Dylan an eyewitness when she was bored out of her mind. That's what we're going to do. She later told police she saw a man in black clothing with bushy eyebrows walking past her, except bushy eyebrows was not in the very original description. And later he turned into a fireman holding a vacuum type object. So let's talk about that. They're going to use the selfie for his eyebrows. That's hilarious. Dylan was interviewed 4 times. I was drunk. I was in a dreamlike state. Yeah. That's not true. You can't say she was shown a mugshot and said she didn't know who he was. No, she went on her own accord and looked up his face whenever he was arrested and said she didn't recognize him. That car goes so fast. His alibi is the driving around alibi. Yeah. On a cloudy, freezing night. Honey, baby. Since when does fog mean cloudy? Fog is on the ground. Clouds are in the sky. Okay. There's literally people over on Heather's community post. She's had some stuff, and I've showed some stuff before, and other channels have showed it too. There were people literally outside stargazing because there was actually an event happening in the skies that week, and people were actively watching it. There were people even out in that area that posted photos and videos of stuff that they were seeing out in the sky from that literal night. All it takes is a little bit of Googling. You find everything you need. See, now they're talking about the DP. And I mean, I agree, this whole thing right here, that the murder was especially heinous, atrocious, and cruel, but they've got to have the right guy. I stand to this day on what I've said from the beginning. Whoever did this deserves the DP, but it's got to be the right person, and I'm not convinced. That could change come trial. They have to show proof. They can't have any rebuttals. It has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. There can't be anything. No questions. This is not going to be Delphi 2.0. Not on this channel, because I'll continue running my damn mouth. Why are they showing... Are they about to tell us that they never talked to the Goncalveses? Because this is the oldest shit I've ever seen. Look at how old this interview is they're showing screens of. Guys. How old was this?
For Kohberger to face the death penalty.
If attacking somebody while they're sleeping in their bed isn't probable cause for you.
Look how old this interview is. Is Dateline literally about to say they didn't talk to them recently? Because they've been talking to everybody else. So that's insane. Did I just turn off my thing? Oh, hold on. I just turned it off. That definitely does not look like they spoke to them. Literally at all. Oh, geez. Hold on. I turned it off before it was done on accident. Is that it right there? I don't think there was much left. I only had like 6 minutes left. I don't really feel like they're going to say anything else. This might be done already because I was a little behind. Yeah. Yeah. I can't find it again. It's already over on my end because it's already over on that end. Yeah. I'll watch the last like 5 or 6 minutes whenever it comes out officially on another source. So yeah, that was wild. That was wild. That was wild. Yeah, like I can't remember what it was called. It starts with a L, I think, the Leonid or whatever. I always have to have people remind me what it was that was called. Oh my God. Go back and look at the timestamps. You're going to literally see that the timestamp for the security footage and the timestamps they're trying to say don't match. Yeah, Bloom is dumb. He always just comes up with a bunch of shit and then he says, oh, but they won't talk to me. Well, probably because you suck, Bloom. Probably because you suck. Leonid, yeah. Leonid. It's just insane. Yeah, and speaking of like more than one person, that's another thing that Steve Goncalves does in the personal. Maybe we need to just do a live review of that video, of that interview, because he says a lot of shit in that one too. And I feel like it'll probably take me less time if we just play it on a live and go over it. But he mentions like they a lot. When he's talking about Kaylee's injuries, he's like they, when they attacked her, when they did this, when they did that. And I'm like, man, so dead set on it being Mr. O. Kohberger, but you sure keeping up that plural, aren't you? Interesting. Interesting. Mm-mm. No, they're I know damn well that they're full of shit. There's no way that they don't have any footage from that arrest, and they've been trying to say that from the beginning. And I'm like, okay, so you had like 50 plus boots on the ground, all right? Multiple agencies. You even had the people actually like show up from Moscow. And instead of like showing up at the scene, they're at some command center watching on a phone screen through drone footage. So that's weird enough in itself. And it's really interesting that like Moscow didn't participate in the takedown of Bryan Kohberger. Pennsylvania did and the FBI did, but they show up to like assist in his arrest and it's their case technically, and they don't even show up at the house. Payne literally says he never went into that neighborhood. So to this day, Moscow Police Department and the state of Idaho and Latah County are prosecuting Bryan Kohberger, and the investigators who are doing so never even stepped foot on his parents' property. They never even stepped foot. Payne says it himself. They never went into the neighborhood. Never went into the neighborhood. Makes no sense. Not just busting into the house, breaking the damn house. They broke that house. Michael Kohberger was outside with the broom cleaning up glass for hours. And see, I don't really think that we will either. But then again, I really hope I'm wrong, because there was another case that people were citing in the beginning saying that they had went the whole case saying that there wasn't any body cam footage of the arrest, of the event, that there wasn't any footage whatsoever. And then come trial, they had body cam footage from like a dash cam, actually, like dash cam footage. So I don't know what they're freaking doing. It's just insane. It's just insane. But I don't know. Like, I'm thinking back at all the stuff that they said. And honestly, the only thing that I have an issue with is him looking up like nasty, spicy stuff. Like, I don't care that he was looking up spicy stuff. I care that he was looking up bad, spicy stuff. If those are true search results. Him looking up the K-bar and stuff like that on the dates that he did, again, that doesn't really bother me because of his position and the stuff that he was probably hearing being in that area. I mean, just because we didn't know about the K-bar sheath for like however long doesn't mean that the local area wasn't talking about it. Doesn't mean that he didn't have people that were talking about it. Didn't mean that people that he knew didn't know people that were working on the case, or it doesn't really matter. Like, there's a big possibility he heard something about that before we did because of who he is and the position that he's in. And that's why he looked that up. I can make that for that one. But when it comes to those kinds of videos that he's looking up, that sounds like it's a personal pleasure type thing. And that's a little odd. More than a little, if it's true. What's bad spicy? Spicy videos means people doing things to each other videos. The ones they're trying to claim he was looking at were people that were doing things to each other that weren't wanted, where people were on substances and were not fully awake and aware of what was happening to them. Type videos is what they're saying. I can't be okay with that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Again, I don't care if you're watching spicy stuff itself. I honestly don't give a holy hot damn. But certain genres just shouldn't exist. That'll be a problem for me. I don't care if you're like into horror and gore and stuff like that. When it comes to what turns you on, okay, there should be a line drawn between what you're passionate about, what you're interested in studying, and what makes your body move. Alrighty? And if there's not a line there and your body moves whenever it sees stuff it shouldn't, that's a problem. That's a problem. Yes, the P word. That rhymes with corn. I did put too much coconut oil in my hair. I'm gonna have to rewash it. I don't like this at all. I don't like how this feels at all. Maybe he heard it was one of those films. I mean, it being one of those films that caused this problem. Yes, S.A. Corn. Yeah, maybe, because that was one of the big theories in the beginning. Well, not like a big theory, but some people were going around sending people against their will a bunch of screenshots and a bunch of weird shit that nobody wants to see, trying to say that that's exactly what it was, that it was some sort of snuff film thing or whatever. And I just don't know how accurate that is at all, because the cops came out early and said there was no SA whatsoever. So I don't know. I know. That's what I know. That's what I'm worried about. Like, I don't know. Just them having that footage of the car is crazy to me. So I don't know. Everything is just wild. And they really didn't prove anything in this, like I said. So I don't know. They don't even have him. Like, I'm telling you now, it's odd to me they didn't talk to the Goncalveses. But he also made a comment in Ashley's interview that if people contact him to get like a statement or to interview him about the case, and he says no, he goes back and he tries to see what they had to say about the case. And like, because he says no about interviewing with those people, that they just like don't do anything about the story. And I'm like, no one gives a shit if you talk to them or not. This is like one of the hottest cases out there right now when it comes to people giving a damn. You don't need to be interviewed for somebody to do a story about this case. That didn't make sense. So I think he's just trying to make himself feel relevant whenever he's really not, because it's not just his child that died here. There's 3 other families that are just as important as Steve-O Goncalves over there. So I don't know why he tries to act like he needs to be the center of attention all the time, or that if it's not him, then no one's going to do it. It's all on him, man. That's how he acts. Just annoying. Super annoying. 50 Shades isn't nothing compared to this shit that people are looking at. 50 Shades is vanilla. Alrighty? Trust me, 50 Shades is vanilla. So I don't know. But the whole thing about him Googling Ted Bundy and then also Googling his professor and then also then going in and downloading a paper that she wrote about Ted Bundy. Does that not sound like a freaking school assignment? Like a school assignment? What's the problem? That's a school assignment. That has to be something to do with school. So. I just don't know. I mean, it was an interesting watch, but it definitely, I mean, I probably could have just like not stressed myself out so much to try to like get there so that I could watch it. Because it really just was like everything I pretty much thought it was. It hasn't convinced me more either way. Like, again, they're going to have to put him there. They have to actually put him at the location. And until they can do that, then it doesn't really matter to me. They could, I have a theory that goes into a lot of different things that's just really sort of like far-fetched. And it still includes him being like involved, but just like in a mastermind kind of way. And it's honestly a theory that I had in the very beginning of this, whenever we first found out about Bryan Kohberger, before I started asking a bunch of questions and stuff really just wasn't adding up. I really just thought that like maybe he just got really buddy with somebody who had these tendencies, and because he's really like into observing people and getting all of their emotions about how they feel doing certain things, it was like his own thing. Like he basically was like he helped somebody figure out the way to commit the crime, and that's also explaining like his DNA. Because if they can't put him at the location, it's a problem. I don't care what anybody freaking says. It's 2025. Already. If they can't put him at that location and there's physical proof he wasn't at that location, he's not the guy. It's just that simple. There's no sugarcoating around it. It's not because I'm biased or unbiased or any freaking damn thing else. That's just the facts, and it's pretty simple. It's pretty freaking simple. So we'll see what they do. See what they come out with. See what they come out with. They're going to have to show some for real stuff. Some for real stuff. I don't give a damn about him searching for a knife sheath whenever he worked for the criminology department right next to the school where all this crap happened by. Doesn't mean shit. Okay, there's like thousands of y'all arguing with this Patty person. What's the problem? Is it Patty? Okay, well, y'all stop arguing. Be nice. Miss T and Miss Tree. That's hilarious. Yeah, it's interesting that they're trying to break the two apart suddenly, because they're really pushing that Maddie had a different best friend. They're really pushing that. It's just something I thought of a while back because of the way that he seems to kind of like want to control situations, or sort of just like, I don't know, like a perfectionist almost. Oh, the Showalters. Yeah, I never really got too much into them either. That Africa thing apparently is not true. Him going to his parents in the middle of the night like that is, but there's like no proof that he actually jetted off to Africa, apparently. That's what I've understood from pretty reputable sources, but I guess we'll see. No idea. John Jack. 1 second, guys. Do I believe what Dylan said in her interviews? I can go two ways with this. I could be a real dick and I can say Dylan's a damn liar. She's full of shit. She's making it all up, blah, 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 whatever. Or I can go the other way and still have a lot of responsibility and a lot of weight on her because I don't give a damn. You're out there living on your own. You signed a lease. You're paying utility bills. You're getting yourself back and forth to school, to your job. You're being a freaking adult. And you get taught as a wee baby that if someone's on the damn floor unconscious, you get help. Okay? So regardless, Dylan's a loser in my opinion because she chooses not to act no matter what the situation. And I don't give a damn who that pisses off. I don't give a frick if it's her daddy or anyone else. You taught your child to not act, to not react, to not give a shit. Are you proud of that? Are you proud that your child just saw her friend that she lives with on the ground and just went on about her freaking night like nothing happened and didn't bother once apparently to go back and check on her for 8 hours? Are you proud of that? Are you proud of that? I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be. And speaking of Dylan, Steve apparently saw what I'm going to assume is Dylan's father probably at the last court hearing in April. Did you guys hear that? Steve said he's never seen any of the surviving roommates' family members there before, and he made it sound as if a parent of one of them was there on April 9th. And who's not coming back across state line? Bethany. So who does that leave? And who's been talked about a lot recently because his text messages and phone calls between him and his daughter are now court record? Yeah. So now he's showing up in court all of a sudden. That's interesting, isn't it? But when it comes to the story, them going up into Kaylee's room and apparently talking about going to get food doesn't make sense to me because you should have known if you were talking to Kaylee and Maddie that Eric was the one that dropped them off. The way they're trying to make the question sound is if, hey, are you still out driving, as if she knew he was driving. And that's not how the question is worded in the documents. It's worded like she didn't know he was out driving, so she wanted to make sure he was driving. Not that she wanted to make sure he was still driving. Making sure he's still driving is giving the indication that Kaylee and Maddie might have actually given her the knowledge that he's the one that dropped them off, which would make sense to the story. But she's asking him like she's not aware that he's the one that just dropped them off, which is odd to me because it just happened a handful of minutes before this apparent, powwow about going out and getting food. So that story, again, that's only coming from Dylan. That's not coming from the girls that are no longer here. There's nothing in the text messages, at least that we have seen as the public, that say anything about food in the messages between Dylan and Eric. So I don't believe that part. There's nothing for me to believe. I mean, it's not so far-fetched that the two girls that only shared one meal, as drunk as they are, as much as she apparently drank, and Bethany we really don't have any information on. But for them to want to go out and get more food or want to order more food, that part makes sense to me. But why did we not hear that beforehand? Why are we just hearing all this stuff now whenever they're trying to say, oh, everybody was asleep and nobody was doing nothing, and they're trying to put all this information on this DoorDash order just like they tried to do in this Dateline thing, but there's nothing about Xana when it comes to DoorDash. There's not even DoorDash records for Xana admitted into evidence. Do people not understand that? We've seen these self-authenticating records list that's being admitted as evidence. The records are Ethan's. The records for DoorDash are Ethan's. There's nothing about Xana on there whatsoever. It's his account. He made the order. It came from his information. But when it comes to what she said about what she saw, no. I believe in the most innocent of senses that she might think that what she saw was one way or another, but I don't believe her. I don't believe her motive. I don't believe anything that they're saying because not only have we been suspicious of a cleanup because of the latent shoe print and all the bullshit surrounding these two, but now we have an expert claiming that he knows for a fact because there's direct and indirect proof of a cleanup in that 8-hour period. So no. To be an asshole, no. I don't believe a damn thing she says. In the most innocent sense, she still wasn't raised worth a shit, in my opinion. I guess that's really the only way that I can do that. That's the only way I can really answer that question. Not just a basketball player build, but she also very specifically said that she thought that it was one of Ethan and Xana's friends. And what else did we also hear come court now? That it wasn't like the house was asleep and oh my God, there's a person in the house and oh my God. No, music and singing. Music and singing. The house hadn't even started to shut down yet. What you mean? Music was playing and people were singing. Nobody was asleep. Nobody was asleep. Nobody was asleep. I just can't believe the like insane fantasy that's coming out of this stuff. And that's another thing. Steve Goncalves on the Ashley personal channel interview got the Amazon gift card stuff wrong. And it's wild because Ashley Banfield didn't even know where that shit came from about the Amazon gift card. And she's like, where did you hear that? Where did you hear that about the Amazon gift card? And he's like, oh, I don't know. It was somewhere or in some document or it was in something. Sweetie baby, you were literally right there in the courtroom. You were in the courtroom. That was talked about on the day you were actually allowed in. And you can't even answer that question. I guess it explains why you got the information wrong. Because nobody gifted Kohberger a freaking Amazon gift card. Eliza Mosoff said that the spreadsheet, the Excel spreadsheet that they had from the Amazon information had the purchase of the gift card on it, meaning it was a gift card purchased through Amazon. Nobody gifted it to him. It was purchased on the account, not handed to him from like some rando. So he's just out here, A, getting information wrong, and then not even able to cite his sources for where he got it from. You see why I'm aggravated? Aggravated. Like, if he was out here actually, like, telling facts, then I really couldn't complain that much because he's out here talking truth, having his own opinion, but out here still speaking on the actual facts that we know to be facts. He's not doing that. That's the problem. That's the issue. You think the voice Dylan heard was on the TV? Maybe. Maybe. But I just don't get this now. Like, how can you have enough time to take out 4 people in the amount of time that they're trying to say that it took for you to do it by yourself with a manual weapon in the middle of the night in the dark? But now we're supposed to believe that you had time to carve up Ethan like a freaking Halloween pumpkin and go and do what you did to Kaylee in the same amount of time. And still, through all of the excessive force and all of the blood that would be coming from all of that excessive force and all of the blood that would be coming up from a knife being used to carve up a leg, not a drop of blood outside of the rooms, not a drop of blood that led anywhere, not anything anywhere. If anything, the details just make less sense because you're trying to tell us more time was needed based on the injuries and the events that you're giving us. But you're making it seem like it's even more impossible for it to have been him because all these additional things are apparently now happening that are not only time consuming, but also a hell of a lot messier. And there's nothing. I don't get it. Kitten said, I don't get how someone who even admits that they were pretty much out of their minds drunk can be used as a credible witness. Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I don't know how many times I've listened to not just like fake ass TV shows, but like the documentary type cop shows and stuff. And it's always they were drinking, they weren't a credible witness. They were on this substance, they were considered not a credible witness. They had been intoxicated whenever they left the bar. So whenever they witnessed the fight outside because they're toxic, because their levels were at this, because they drank this much alcohol, we couldn't put them on the stand. She admits that the eyebrows might not be real because her brain is playing tricks on her. I don't understand. The guy who couldn't fillet a fish. Exactly. Literally could not get the knife skills down. Impossible for him to get the knife skills down. There's something about blood being on a chair. There's something about an imprint or something on a chair trying to say that he also apparently had time to sit. Isn't that insane? Insane. Insane. Yeah. I'll probably end up watching this thing again just to see if there's anything that I missed, like not tonight and probably not for like a while, maybe like in another week or so. But I'm going to go over like this information here soon. But again, like other than like the not okay spicy stuff that he's looking at, again, I don't care if you watch spicy stuff, but you just crossed the line with that one. Sorry, not sorry. If your body becomes aroused to the visuals of somebody being R-worded or having a substance put into them that makes them fall unconscious so that somebody could take advantage of them, then you're like a sick freak in your own right, for real. But that still doesn't mean that he's like guilty of murder. So I'm going to withhold my judgment all the way around until we get some proof from the court about that. But that's not something I'm going to be okay with. Yeah, if true. It's just a lot. A lot of information here. Okay. I'm going to get off here because the kids have been begging me to go play Exploding Kittens. Don't know what it is. Look it up on Google. It's a pretty fun little card game. I got it on clearance at Kroger for like $4, and we pretty much play it like every night. It's actually really fun. Of course, my youngest thinks that my oldest son is what does he call him? A dirty little cheater. For some reason, Don always loses. But we're going to go and play this game now. You'll have a great night. Thank you for watching this with me, or at least listening to me watch it. It was weird to like talk the whole time while I'm listening to it here on this end, but it worked out. It worked out all right. It worked out okay. Y'all have a super great night. Thank you so much for the super stickers and the super chats and the gifted memberships and the memberships by themselves. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate all you guys that come in here and spend your time with me. I really do. It's not like it's not paid attention to. Y'all could be spending time anywhere else, doing anything else on somebody else's channel, looking at anything else, listening to anything else, talking about and doing anything else you could, but you decide to be here instead, and that's important to me. Super important to me. So I'm going to go ahead and close this stuff out. Happy early Mother's Day weekend to all of you beautiful people out there. Y'all have a safe weekend too. I don't know if I'll be live again this weekend. I probably will be, just for clicks, shits, and giggles, because there's all kinds of stuff going on. So we're going to have to catch up eventually. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this part right here. Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. All right, you guys. See y'all.